Rose Concepcion here from the Money School. In this episode, we will talk about credit cards. How many people you know are having difficulty paying off their credit card debt? Perhaps you yourself are in this situation. Maybe you know of people who cut all their cards because they were so overwhelmed by their high credit balances. There are people who have sworn off using credit cards altogether. It seems that some people see credit cards as unnecessary or even dangerous. But according to the Wharton School, if you look at the demographics of payment systems, cash is predominantly used by low-income consumers. Debit cards are predominantly used by low to middle-income consumers, and credit cards are predominantly used by higher-income consumers, which begs the question, why are the rich generally unafraid to use credit cards? There are always two sides to a coin. So, what are the pros and cons of using credit cards? First, let's talk about the advantages. One is convenience. Nowadays, especially, not having to deal with cash when you go out is great. If you have a credit card, you reduce the need to withdraw frequently from the ATM, and it's generally easier to shop online because many online merchants accept credit card payments. Number two is security. Using a credit card to make purchases is more secure than carrying around cash, especially for big-ticket items. When it comes to online shopping, you can equip an e-credit card, which will allow you to have a smaller limit than your main credit limit, thus protecting you from thieves being able to charge hundreds of thousands on your credit card. Number three, rewards. Banks give rewards such as rebates or miles to encourage customers to use credit cards. But did you know, to be able to get the best value for your money, you should pay with credit cards that offer rewards instead of paying with cash? Why is this so? When we use credit cards to pay, merchants have to pay a portion of our purchase amount to the credit card company. And so in some cases, merchants increase prices across the board to be able to cover the fees associated with credit card transactions. Whether or not we pay in cash or in credit, the cost is higher. And so, to get our money's worth, we should pay via cards that offer rewards and redeem these rewards. If we always paid in cash, then we would end up shouldering the high cost ourselves. Notice that debit cards offer the same cashless convenience, but rarely offer rewards or rebates. Thus, it makes sense to use a credit card over a debit card. Number four, credit score. You need to use a credit card to get a credit score with banks. Banks will use this credit score to evaluate you later on. If you do well with maintaining your credit card, you will get a high credit score, which will aid banks in approving loans for you in the future. Your credit score will affect not only your ability to borrow, it will also affect the insurance premiums that companies are willing to offer to you, and can even affect your career. Some companies will look at your credit score to help determine whether or not they will hire you. Now, what are the disadvantages? 1. Fraud. Using a credit card opens you up to the risk of people hijacking your card and using it to make purchases. That's why you need to be careful when using a credit card. As mentioned earlier, it's good practice to set up an e-credit card with a lower credit limit for online purchases. Number 2, fees. Late fees and interest vary per credit card, but the fees are definitely much higher than whatever your savings accounts are earning. You should avoid paying credit card interest as much as possible. The best way to take advantage of credit cards is to pay in full and on time all the time. You should also try to get your annual fees waived if possible. Number 3, temptation. For some people, a high credit limit may entice them to spend more, but this temptation stems from adopting the wrong mindset. Your credit limit is not your money. It is money that the bank is willing to lend you. It is the bank's money. Some people may be proud of their credit cards and proud of having high credit limits, but a high credit limit is not a status symbol. A high credit score is. In fact, your credit score will suffer if you use too much of your credit. An average utilization of around 30% of your credit limit is what is optimal for your credit score. So, should you use a credit card? Yes, not to buy things you cannot pay for, but to get a good credit score. You need to maintain at least one credit card to be able to build a good credit history. You can think of a credit card as a test administered to you by banks. They are testing whether you are good at borrowing. If you're able to manage your credit properly by paying in full and on time consistently, you will get high marks. And when you need to borrow from banks later on to pay for bigger purchases like houses or businesses, the banks will be happy to offer you attractive loan terms. But if you never bothered to get a credit card, you will not get a credit score, and banks will be hesitant to grant you loans in the future. Taking on debt is risky, but it is not bad. In fact, rich people are not afraid to borrow money. Why? Because they borrow to gain leverage. What is leverage? It is borrowing capital to increase potential return of an investment. Consider the root word lever, which is a tool used to amplify strength to move a weight. So leverage can amplify the return of your investment. So imagine you have this great business and the time is ripe for expansion, but you need additional capital. Your company can issue bonds to borrow for this expansion and thus use leverage. You are borrowing to take advantage of an investment opportunity. Of course, using leverage also amplifies your risk, but that's the nature of risk versus reward. High reward, high risk should your venture fail. Here's another example, and this time I'll bring it closer to our topic of credit cards. Let's say that you have 100,000 pesos in a high interest earning savings account that gives you even higher interest for every month that you make no withdrawals. And then let's say you also have a credit card with a credit limit of 100,000 pesos. You come across this great deal for several pairs of limited edition shoes that will cost you a total of 30,000 pesos. You know that you can easily sell these shoes for 3 times the price you bought them. So what do? Well, you can withdraw from your savings account to pay for the shoes. But then again, you can use leverage. Don't touch your savings so that it continues to earn maximum interest. Pay through your credit card, then sell the shoes within a month, make a profit, and then pay your balance in full and on time. Last example, just to drive the point home. Imagine that you have been responsible in maintaining credit cards for 10 years, paying your balances in full and on time all the time. Imagine that you are also diligent in paying off your car amortization. At 35, you are looking to invest in a modest lot containing 3 townhouses. You plan to live in one of them while renting out the other 2 for 40,000 pesos per house per month. You start approaching banks for loans. They look at your credit score and see that it is high, and so they are confident to offer you attractive loan rates. You are able to get a loan for 50,000 pesos per month for the property. Your rental income of 80,000 pesos will cover this loan, and on top of that, will give you 30,000 pesos per month. You were able to use leverage to take advantage of an attractive investment opportunity due to your high credit score. So to conclude, I believe that credit cards, if used properly, are a good tool for making payments and building a good credit history. Use them responsibly to get a high credit score so that banks and other lending institutions will be confident about lending you money. In the future, a good credit score will help you use leverage to take advantage of investment opportunities that will come your way. I hope you learned something new about credit cards through this video. Please support me by hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. Let's learn more about money. Thanks for watching. Bye!